Right guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all going to be about the trail hand. So for me as a right-handed golfer, that is my right hand, and we're talking about the role of that in the backswing and the start of the downswing. And understanding this changes tons. It helps you control that club face for straighter shots, but it's also going to help your swing plane, your swing path. So a real vital area. So the first area we're going to really talk about is the trail hand and the role of that movement in the takeaway position and how it actually mirrors our pre-impact position as we're coming down into impact. What I'd love to see is that trail hand a little bit more on top, as if your palm is facing down towards the ground a little bit more. As a common fault, what I see and most coaches around the world see, if not all coaches, is that trail hand making this type of motion, starting to point more upwards. And that gets the club face often behind the golfer and very open. We actually want it to be more matched at our spine angle in that first movement when the club is parallel to the ground. So if we make that movement, it's going to feel like, and open up our hand, that our trail hand is pointing a little bit more down towards the ground. Now actually, I want that same position when we're coming back down into impact. We could hit a straight shot with the trail hand in the opposite movement, but it means I'm having to use, to square the club face, a lot more roll in my release. And it's not that the forearms haven't got a part to play in the release. They absolutely do. But I see with a lot of great golfers, very consistent golfers, their hand speed is more in the down cocking of the wrists rather than the rotation, if you like, of the handle this way. So we don't see as much roll in the release of the majority of elite golfers, whereas we see a lot of that movement with amateur golfers, and it makes it very hard to control that club face. So if we can get that club face turned down coming into impact, so again it's more matching my spine angle, I can square that face with a little bit more body rotation. Now I get a lot of golfers going, well, I'm a senior golfer, I'm an older golfer, I haven't got the mobility, can I make this movement? We're only talking about getting the club face in such a position that we can start to turn our body. Now that's not putting a huge force on my back or my hips. I'm not talking about getting into this position at impact like you see with some of the young elite golfers. I'm just talking about squaring the face by timing up the body and the hands and the arms rather than just independently using this. So that's what we want to see in that first movement, and by the time we come back down into pre-impact. So why don't we just swing the golf club making that movement? Trail hand pointing down, trail hand pointing sort of down, trail hand pointing down. Well, it would just end up being incredibly steep and vertical, and the swing would actually have to be very short. So I want that motion in the takeaway position where that trail hand is pointing more down, and I want to get to that same delivery position as I'm coming into impact in an ideal world, but our trail hand has to change role in the backswing as we add some rotation. So trail palm pointing down, as we start to rotate, we actually want the palm pointing up towards the sky. We want to keep it pointing up at the start of the downswing, just to help shallow that club shaft, that we're not getting that club shaft coming down this way. That's the quickest way to get A to B, but it's not the most efficient way. It's not going to help us generate the most amount of speed. So we actually want to keep that palm feeling like it's pointing a little bit more up, a little bit more behind us, and now it's starting to point down. So it's a little bit more complex, I guess. But think of it this way. Trail hand on top, trail hand under, trail hand under, trail hand on top, okay? So trail hand on top in that first move to moving under, staying under, if you like, this way. It's actually probably more pointing behind me, but it's not this way, is it? So trail hand under to trail hand on top. And the reason it's moving under from this position is as I add that rotation and as I add that backswing depth, that we need that trail palm to point a little bit more up. So if you just grab a football or a range bucket, can work really well. I'd probably grab one actually if I had one handy. I'd want you to think about where the open part of the bucket was pointing if you're holding either side of it. Here. So I almost want in that first movement the feeling that the balls would be running out of the bucket, okay? Then that palm is up and the bucket would actually, the balls would stay up, okay? So the bucket is pointing more up in the air, staying up in the air, and then starting to fall out again here as they're starting to fall down. If we can get that trail hand in good position in the takeaway and into delivery, we're going to hit a lot straighter shots. We're really going to help our swing plane and swing path. So once we've done some of the ball or the bucket drills, grab a club. Now I get a lot of golfers where I would teach them impact by doing these type of movements. So you could just do a move where we actually open up our trail hand. So set up, open up it so it's pointing towards the target. And I just want you to feel it pointing down, staying pointing down into impact and just sort of chipping them away. Okay, and it's a hard drill, it's a hard move. For sure, we can't add a ton of speed to that. I'm talking about chipping it away. I hit a 7-iron there, sort of 75 yards. So I'm not talking about belting it. So trail hand pointing down, trail hand still pointing down as I come into impact. Okay, so not a strike that I really wanted on that one, but hopefully you can see the motion there of where the trail hand is. It's a million miles away from this type of movement where that palm is pointing up. So the reason for the rest of it, there's the complicated movement, if you like, is just to add some backswing depth and length that we need that trail palm to point more up towards the sky to help us generate some more speed. Otherwise, for pure accuracy, we'd absolutely swing it more this way, but I can only make a little quarter swing. So if I've put that into a whole move, that's sort of working on impact, I'm still going to sense the trail palm pointing down. Now it's more under, pointing up. And as I'm coming down into impact, that delivery position again starting to point more down. So we could just do some slow moves. Starting to work on the roll of this trail hand. Now, it might be that you just need to work on your takeaway position and you're going to sense that trail hand more on top. It might be that your takeaway is good and you actually just need to work on the downswing, the shallowing movement. So you need to sense that the palm starts to point more up towards the sky. You've got to almost know your faults, see your swing, understand your ball flight to understand which part of this perhaps might be relevant. But if you're doing some slow at-home winter training, you could work on the whole movement because getting this right can help your swing path, help your club face control. Now, I'm not suggesting I'm going to be swinging a club at full pelt, thinking about all those movements, but I could definitely do it in some slow training before I put that into a fuller motion. And I do like rehearsing my takeaway, sensing the palm pointing down for sure. And that was about as straight as I can hit it. You know, it's a couple of yards left to target, but at great distance. Really got that sense of where the palm is. A lot gets talked about compression, doesn't it, these days? What is compression? It's really just taking some loft off the golf club, so getting our hands slightly forwards into impact. Again, this roll of the trail hand into impact does exactly that. So it's a big, big move. I know it can feel like quite a complicated area where we're talking about it on top, under, staying under, and then back to on top. But do those little at-home drills, especially through the winter period, and it could really help your club face control in your swing path. If this video does help, make sure you smash the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content just like this.